Good morning, everybody. This is Matt Webster again with another video on my Christian Journey series. A couple things I want to go over today. One of them was a quote that I meant to put in the last video. This quote's kind of been like a big source of inspiration to my life, especially as someone who is on the journey as a Christian. And the thing is the journey never really stops. And here's the thing with that, too. I realize that many people don't realize this. You're on the journey from the moment that you were planned in existence. So clear back to when God first thought of you, which is when God thought of everything, before time even started. And whilst that part may not be as important as what I'm about to get into, this is just more for understanding of like how I view things and like how I see things, and I'm positive on that note that God sees things this way too. I may not see as perfectly as God or nearly as good in understanding, but I do try to give my viewpoint to clarify more of what I view the world as. Having said that, the quote that I want to go over today is from Lord of the Rings. This book series really is a good inspiration for my own life and like how I wanted to be as a person. There's a quote about a prophecy in the books about Aragorn. And this one quote really stands out, this line in particular. It's all who wander are not lost. I think sometimes, and I know I've done this myself, some of the people that you're trying to rescue or that the church tries to rescue or people try to view, they see them as being lost sheep, and that's not always the case. A lot of times people are out in their own desert, and just because they're in their desert doesn't mean that they're lost. When you wander, you're not necessarily wandering aimlessly. Sometimes God has you wandering because there's things that you need to figure out, and it's not something that everyone else can help you with. Now, having said that, the reason why I said what I said prior, and why I said I've done this myself, is that, one, I've wandered through the desert. I understand it. I'm not completely out of it yet myself. However, I will say that I often try to help others get out of the desert too, and I'm starting to realize that that's not how it works. The reason why you're put into that desert or the valley, whatever you need to call it, is because there's things that God needs you to figure out, and God helps you figure them out with you. So you're never alone, and sometimes it'll seem like it. And part of the reason why this is such an important thing is that sometimes we're just missing small pieces of the puzzle, and sometimes we get it from other people. Sometimes we stumble upon it. Sometimes we get slapped in the face with it. Christian journey is a lot harder than most people would give credit to, and I understand why some people do step off, and it makes sense to me to why people don't always stick to it. I've personally struggled on staying on path, and I've fallen off path a couple times. The reason why I stepped away from the church was so that I could figure out how to step back onto the path without always needing other people. I needed to learn how to rely on Jesus himself. And a lot of people may not understand this, but there's a lot of people that think God and Jesus only talk in one particular way or fashion, and that's not necessarily the truth. In fact, a lot of it is that you hear God in different ways. A lot of times it's just you gotta really be more in tune to what's going on around you, and it'll be small moments, a TV show, a quote, a book verse, a song line, a whole song, something that somebody says. And I can give like an example of this recently in myself. I was lying in bed next to this one woman, and we were talking about some of my past girlfriends, past people that I'd been with, or tried to be with. And I'll be honest, I do seem to have a lot of women that I get involved with that end up being part of the sex industry. And part of it is I feel a deep, profound pity for them, basically because they are kind of in a vulnerable state and they are in bondage, whether or not they want to realize it or not. And the life they're seeking isn't a freeing life, it's a bondage life. And it brings a great sense of shame and stuff like that. And having been someone that has gone into that industry looking for something I wasn't going to find, I can understand why people feel like it's freeing when it's really not. And having said that, what was said to me was that, and it was something I think I needed to hear and I just didn't really quite get it at the time. The reason why a lot of these women feel safe around me is because I'm a protector. And it's funny, for the longest time I've known that I was the protecting kind, and that, without sounding arrogant and prideful, that I was going to be someone who wanted to protect, which is an innate godly desire, because God wants to protect his children. A man should want to protect his household. And the reason why I'm saying it like this is that I think sometimes we forget as a society that we also need to protect those around us. Our job as men is to uphold the laws and protect society and do things in a godly way. And some of us are called to higher positions of power, and by that I don't mean like I have more authority over you, blah blah blah. It's more that we're given more responsibility because, yes, some men just protect the household, some men protect a village, some men protect a kingdom, some men an entire country. It's an important distinction to make because it's not any less or more important than any of the others. It just means that your job suddenly becomes more as time moves on. Now, having said that, a king doesn't fight a battle alone. He has his soldiers and stuff, and their jobs are equally as important as the king. King really just directs and points and tells people where to go, and a good king also will be out on the battlefield with his people, which again translates back to one of the reasons why I love Lord of the Rings. Aragorn represented this very well. There's a lot that can go into that. Something else that I wanted to bring up in this video is something that recently dawned on me that was kind of a funny little thing that's been going on in my own life. And I'd wanted a resolution to this problem that I've been having. I won't get into it on the video, exactly what the problem is, but I will kind of explain a little bit. A lot of the people in my life and around me, I try to do nice things for. I just simply try to be kind. And for a long time, a lot of people around me have viewed that kindness as niceness and being weak. And it is only if you let it get to you and that you're expecting something in return. I act kind and try to be kind simply because I do want to share with others. And sometimes you're not always going to reach people. And sometimes people will not value your kindness. This happened even with Jesus. Sometimes people would completely ignore what he said when he was trying to simply be kind and explain the truth. And the truth is, well, there's something that Jesus had said, and it was about, like, when you go and preach these words to these people, if they do not accept you, or something in that manner, basically to shake off the dust of your shoes at them. And for a long time, I thought that seemed kind of silly in retrospect. I understand what it is, but I think there's another way that we do it nowadays, and a lot of people don't even realize this. You're putting embers on their head is another part of that segment of the Bible in that passage. But the thing is, people don't really necessarily understand fully what that means. It doesn't mean that you're forsaking them. It just simply means that you're walking away and keeping to what is good and godly. And sometimes the best thing you can do is to walk away with a little dust off your shoes. Now, as far as how this works and how you can do this nowadays without having to take your shoes off and do that, because there is another way that's actually very spiritual that you can do it, and it's almost kind of funny. And I say funny because, like, the confusion people get when you do this particular action, and I'm going to go step by step of what I mean. If you've done something nice or kind for somebody and they don't accept it and they act to you in a negative way, don't react. And by react, I mean don't be impulsive, don't have the urge to negatively act. Don't do something or say something that you're going to regret. In fact, the best thing you can do, there's two things you can do: not say anything at all and smile, walk away, or you can go, okay, and continue being kind and nice to them even when you do see them or when they're around, and continue to offer and do things and just be yourself and be kind and genuine. And yeah, it's gonna make them mad. That's the truth of it, and that is the embers upon their head, because there's something inside of them that is insecure or unable to accept your kindness, and in a lot of ways it's just possession of evil spirits and stuff like that. But what I'm getting at with it is that it's kindness to yourself too, to continue to be kind when the world around you is not. And we can solve a lot more problems with a smile and being kind, shaking that spiritual dust off in a way that kind of riles someone's feathers to where it's like, to me it's funny. I'm gonna be honest, it's funny to me. I know that sounds terrible in some regard, but it's funny because for a long time I would get upset by the fact that I was just trying to be kind and whatever, and people would throw my bag in my face, or they would just say some really rude and belittling things. They would be very annoyed and pissed off because they couldn't understand that I was just simply trying to be kind. And it used to bother me a lot more than it does now, but now it's kind of like, okay, well, if you don't want it, cool. Just thought I'd offer. And I do feel like with my own particular case with this happening, because it's happening a lot more recently, which by the way is another thing to say, that when you are doing this stuff and it's happening, it's actually a way that you know that you're on the right path with God, because you're going to have a lot more people that are in contention with you when you are doing these nice things. And honestly, I find it more and delightful, I guess is a good way to say it, because of the fact that I delight in the fact that I can see God kind of going, just laughing, because he realizes that I figured out something that a lot of people don't figure out. And again, it sounds like boasting, and it's not. It's just me simply pointing out something, and I think it is. I really do genuinely think it's funny that people get so worked up and angry over something like this, and it's like, there are people getting shot dead in the street, and you're upset because I'm wanting to give you something or wanting to help you. Okay, sure. You'd be mad at me, I guess. It's like, sure you don't want this over the guy that's going to probably try to mug you later tonight at your car when you're by yourself? I'm not saying that it's going to happen directly to anyone that I know, but the point of the matter is like a comparison of notes to, you can have this or this. And going back to that exact note, you can always choose to be kind when others are not. And yes, I do believe that we have to fight and we have to maintain ground and have to be good people, and or at least be as good as we can. The ultimate point of this whole message is that you can never truly be lost if you're trying to do what is kind. You can wander around and be looking for answers, and sometimes the answers will just slap you in the face. They really do. I've had it happen so many times now at this point that it's almost hilarious even to myself. I kind of laugh at myself because I gotta imagine Jesus is probably sitting there thinking to myself, good grief, how many times do you need to be smacked? And I'm like thinking to myself, well, as many times as it takes to get it. And I think that's another important thing too, is that when you can laugh at yourself, because sometimes if you take yourself too seriously, you're gonna miss messages that could otherwise have been easy to see. Anyways, I hope this message finds everyone well. See you guys next time.